Hello children, welcome to 7th Science online classes. Chapter 10 Respiration in Organisms. So in the last class we studied why do we respire. So simply we can tell that for getting energy we do respire. And two types of respirations are there, aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration means in presence of oxygen, anaerobic respiration means in the absence of oxygen, and we discussed the differences of aerobic and anaerobic respirations. And next we studied breathing. Breathing is the part of respiration, and inhalation and exhalation, that two processes are happening in breathing. And breathing rate, the normal breathing rate of an adult human, and during heavy exercise the breathing rate can increase up to 25 times per minute. So this is everything we studied last class, and today we are going to discuss the mechanism of breathing in human beings. Okay, let us see. The mechanism of breathing in human beings. First point, we take in the air present in the environment through our nostrils, which travels through the nasal cavity. So we know that breathing, two processes are there, inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation means take in air, and exhalation means breathe out air. Okay, so in the first process we take in the air, so that is inhalation process. We take in the air present in the environment or in our atmosphere through our nostrils. See, nose. Okay, so this is the nostrils, two holes are here, our nostrils, which travels through the nasal cavity. So here nasal passage or nasal cavity. Then it moves through the windpipe and reaches the lungs. So here the windpipe, or it is called pharynx, so no need to study that words. You just study this thing, windpipe. Okay, so windpipe and food pipe you already studied. So through food pipe, food passed it to the intestine or stomach, and through windpipe air passed to and reaches the lungs. So here you can see the lungs. Okay, so from where it started, through the nostrils air comes in, and through the nasal passage or nasal cavity, and through windpipe it come to the lungs. Then it moves through the windpipe and reaches the lungs. The lungs are located in the chest cavity, which is surrounded by the ribs. So this area is called the chest cavity, and this chest cavity is surrounded by the ribs. See here, these bones are the ribs. Here also ribs are there, here also ribs. Okay, and these ribs protect these internal organs. These lungs, heart, and liver, these all internal organs are protected by these ribs, and this part is the chest cavity. On the floor of the chest cavity lays a muscle sheet called diaphragm. So you see the spelling of diaphragm, D-I-A-P-H-R-A-G-M. So it is pronounced, or it is read as diaphragm. So this part is called diaphragm. So when you touch your part, that part, you can also see that diaphragm. Okay, after ribs, when you touch your chest cavity, you can also feel the bones. They are the ribs, and after ribs, that part is the diaphragm. So on the floor of the chest cavity lays a muscle sheet, that is a muscle sheet called diaphragm. So that diaphragm is just below this rib cavity. So if you touch your ribs, and you can feel that ribs, and under that You can feel the diaphragm also, that is the muscle sheet. Okay, so this is the first process of, or the mechanism of, breathing in human beings. So first air is passed through these nostrils and through this nasal passage or nasal cavity and through the windpipe. This is the windpipe. It come to the lungs, and lungs is protected by the ribs or chest cavity. This chest cavity is protected or surrounded by the ribs. On the floor of the chest cavity, this is the floor of the chest cavity, lays a muscle sheet called diaphragm. So this figure also very important. During the breathing process, the movement of the ribs and diaphragm takes place. This is so because the lungs expand and contract during breathing. So this when you take breathe in or breathe out or breathing process, you just touch your this part, that rib or a chest cavity. You can also feel when you take breathe in, that time, see, air inhaled. When you take air, that time chest expands, your chest area increase, chest expands. When you take air, breathe in, that time chest expands. So when that time expands, and diaphragm also, here diaphragm contracts, the size is contract. Okay, and breathe out. When carbon dioxide, that air you breathe out, see in this picture, air exhaled or breathe out, that time chest area contracts, that time the chest contracts, that means that area is less. Okay, and that time diaphragm relaxes. So here more area and here less area. Okay, and your stomach also, here in this breathe in, that time your stomach expands. When you just do that thing, when you breathe and just touch your stomach, you can see that your stomach expands. And when you breathe out, diaphragm relaxes, chest contracts, and abdomen also contract. See, it is move inside in breathing out time, but breathing in, that time your abdomen or stomach expands, move out. As we take in the air, it fills up the lungs. This moves the diaphragm downwards and the ribs outwards. The lungs, when releasing out air from the body, which brings back the diaphragm and the ribs to their original positions. So when you are taking or doing this breathing position, you inhaled, and inhalation and exhalation, two processes are there. Inhalation means breathing in. So you can feel this kind of things in your body. Air inhaled, that time chest expands. So when you take in air, that time your chest expands and diaphragm contracts, and your stomach or abdomen also expands. And breathing out time, air inhaled, that time your chest contracts, diaphragm relaxes, and abdomen also contracts. So you just see this figure and do this breathe in and breathing out and feel your ribs and stomach, what is their condition or how it expands or how it contracts. You can feel it. Okay. Why do we sneeze? This is sneezing. Okay, this process. As we inhale the air present in the surroundings, sometimes various unwanted elements such as smoke and dust are also included in it. Okay, the air, when you breathe in, that times sometimes that air contains some dust or any particles inside that air, and however they get stuck in the hair in our nostrils, but some of them can get through the nasal cavity. So you can also see your nose also, inside our nostrils some small hairs are there. So you can also see in front of a mirror, you just stand in front of a mirror and see inside the nostrils, you can also see some small hairs are there. And what is the role, or what is the purpose of that hairs inside our nostrils? When the dust particles come inside the nostrils, that hair trapped that dust particles, so that dust particles cannot go into the nasal passage or nasal cavity. But some of them, or some of the dust or smoke, can get through the nasal cavity. So some of them go through there. Okay, they thus cause irritation in the nasal cavity, which makes us sneeze. So that time we feel some irritation in our nose and we make sneeze. This helps in getting rid of the unwanted particles out of the nasal cavity. So when we do that sneezing, so sneezing, that time the unwanted particles that or dust or smoke or any unwanted particles that move away from our nose. Otherwise it get into or get inside the lungs. So when we are doing or sneezing, that time that unwanted particle move out from our nose. So that is the purpose of sneeze. Next is, what do we breathe out? See, breathing, two processes are there: inhalation, exhalation. So inhaled air contain which are the things, and exhaled air contain which things. See, first inhaled air, oxygen. Oxygen contains 21% of oxygen. So when you are breathing, when you take in air, that air contains 21% of oxygen. That means more oxygen than exhaled air. And exhaled air means breathe out. That time it contains 16% of oxygen. So 16% of oxygen go outside also. So less oxygen than inhaled air. So this percentage, you just remember this percentage. Inhaled air contains 21% oxygen and exhaled air contains 16% oxygen. Definitely when you take in, that time the amount of oxygen is more. Then carbon dioxide. Inhaled air contain 0.03% of carbon dioxide, very less carbon dioxide than exhaled air. But when you breathe out, contains about 4% of carbon dioxide, more carbon dioxide than inhaled air. So when you breathe out, that time more amount of carbon dioxide get rid from your body. And water vapor. Inhaled air contain less water vapor, but exhaled air, when you breathe out, or you just breathe out on a mirror or anything, you can see some vapors, water vapor, that contain more water vapor. So this is also important. So inhaled air and exhaled air. Oxygen 21% oxygen and exhaled air 16% only. And carbon dioxide, inhaled air very less, 0.03% carbon dioxide only, but exhaled air contain 4%. And water vapor, inhaled air very less water vapor, but exhaled air more water vapor. So these are the things we studied today, and next class we will learn breathing in some other animals also. Okay, so all of you read your textbook and watch the video also, and do the question and answer in your notebook. Okay children, so thank you, all the best.